January day. I thought I'd open with an oldie. You like oldies? I am an oldie, actually. I'm older than I look, I think. I'm so old, my healthcare provider's a paleontologist. I thought I was getting arthritis. I went in, he says, no, I'm sorry, but what you have is early onset rigor mortis. In high school, I was voted most likely to someday walk upright. And on New Year's Eve, I'm so old that on New Year's Eve, Father Time, he dresses up like me. Anyway, song. Anybody remember Fats Waller? Anybody? Fats? You remember Fats? Okay. I thought I'd do a song by his. Name of the song? Ain't Misbehaving. I think I know the words. Let's see. I've never really done this one. I don't stay out late, nowhere to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you. I know for certain, the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's you I've been dreaming of. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you. Like Jack Horner in a corner, don't go nowhere. What do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, I don't leave my home, don't get no kicks. I sit here all alone, just me watching my Netflix. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you. All right, I'm gonna do some stories from my memoir. I wrote a book finally in my later years. It's never too late to achieve your dream. I wrote a book here, it's called Providencia and Other Stories. Providencia is an island in the Caribbean that I went to many times. I don't have time to do those. I'm gonna do those starting tomorrow night. If anybody's interested, let me know. But I'm gonna be doing the other stories. And the first one I was gonna do was Mom's Big Surprise. So this happened when I was about 4 years old, 1954, 55, and my parents told my older sister Carol and me they had a big surprise for us that evening. They wouldn't tell us what it was. We begged and said, no, behave yourself, or you go to bed early and you miss the whole thing. So we ate dinner early that night. Mom hurried through her meal to go upstairs and get ready, whatever that meant. And then she went upstairs to get ready. We cleared the table, and Dad did the dishes that night, which was exactly a surprise in itself. So a while later, I hear Mom coming down the stairs, and I go, look, see, what's the surprise? And there she stood. She paused on the landing there for a minute, and I thought she looked like a goddess on a pedestal. She was wearing her best blue dress, the real pearl necklace and earrings my dad had given her for her wedding anniversary. Her hair was perfectly styled, and her makeup was worthy of a Hollywood movie star. I always so loved my mother. Dad breaks the spell when he says, I'm taking your mom to the L, I'll be back in 15 minutes, don't fight. What? Where's Mom going all dressed up by herself on the train? We had no idea, we had no clue. Dad comes home, where's Mom going all dressed up by herself? You just never mind, you're gonna find out later. If you don't behave yourself, you're gonna miss the whole thing. Now let's watch a little TV. So we literally did watch a little TV that night. We had a little 10-inch black and white with the rounded picture tubes. Some of you might remember. I don't remember what we saw, maybe Milton Berle or Jack Benny or something, I don't know, but time comes, Dad tells me to get up and change the channel. So I get up and change the channel, and the show comes on that I don't recall ever seeing before. It's like, what is this? And I hear Carol on the couch behind me going, I know. And I'm like, what? Why is she so excited about this show that we've never seen before? So I look, and it turns out to be like a Chicagoland American Idol kind of a thing, and singing competition. I'm like, I was like 4. Oh, wait a minute. Mom's a singer. She's just singing around the house all the time. She even had a radio jingle, on the radio, and she made some demo 78s that she sent out to Mitch Miller in New York. He called and wanted her to come out to New York and sing with the band. Overwhelming. She had to turn it down. It was too late. She had a family to raise, and she had to say no. So anyway, could it be Mom on TV? And I look at the little TV, and there's people lined up on the little black and white little thing. I saw the necklace. Yes, Mom's going to sing on TV. I was just excited. I don't care about you. I don't care about you. There's Mom. Okay, Mom's finally going to sing. The host brings her out and leads her on stage in front of the audience and the lights and the cameras. The lights went down, a spotlight shone down upon her like she's some kind of angel beamed down from heaven, and I was entranced. The orchestra started to play, and she began to sing. Gee, ain't it great after staying out late, walking my baby back home. Arm in arm over meadow and farm, walking my baby back home. We walk along harmonizing a song, or I'm reciting a poem. As we go by, owls give us the eye, walking my baby back home. We stop for a while, she give me a smile, snuggles her head to my chest. We start to do pet, and that's when I get her powder all over my vest. After I kinda straighten my tie, she wants to borrow my comb. One kiss and I'm in heaven again, walking my baby, walking my baby, walking my baby back home. Thanks. Near the end of the program, they chose the winner, and guess what? Mom won. Mom won. It was amazing. So the host brings her out on stage and gives her a small gift, and the camera zooms in as she undoes the ribbon and removes the top of the package. And I couldn't believe what she got. It was a box of shoelaces. What? I was insulted for her. How dare they? That is not even funny. The host told her to dig a little deeper, and she found this beautiful bull of a watch, the face surrounded with 12 small diamonds. My sister still has it. Mom's been taken from us decades ago now, but I'll always have wonderful memories of this beautiful, talented woman who denied herself a professional singing career to raise our family with such kindness and compassion, encouragement and love. And when I think back, I get to relive this amazing night and the surprise and the wonder of it all and the pride I felt to be her son. All right, fast forward many years. I was 22. Done some hitchhiking. Well, I was standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know that your sweet love is gonna save me. We may lose and we may win, but we will never be here again. So open up, I'm climbing in, so take it easy. Okay, my stories are all true. There was no girl in a flatbed Ford, okay? But I was hitching. I was at the south end of Winslow, the highway wide there, and there was some ball fields and some commercial stores and a little gas station, and the shortcut to the Grand Canyon where my chauffeur was continuing without me. And there was a fence and some railroad tracks, and I thought, you know, it's getting kind of late. I don't want to go into town late in the evening. I don't know where I'm going to stay. Don't know what's going to happen or what. So I noticed there were some shrubs and bushes off to the side there, so nobody's looking. So I scurried across the little highway there, and there was a depression in the soil, a swale, you might call it. It was a ditch. Okay, I slept in the ditch that night, but it was dry and it wasn't going to rain, and I slept sideways. My head was up, very comfy. So I had myself a can of beans and a cigarette and read a book for a while and went to sleep early. Woke up early. I had to wait for it to get light, actually. But anyway, I got up and I took my little bean can and I walked over to the gas station and I got myself a cup of coffee and a big cookie. Talking to the guy there, oh yeah, it's too far to walk to the freeway. Yeah. I said, so have the coffee and the cookie and may I have the key to the restroom, please? Oh, sure. Whew, thanks. Just in time. Glad I didn't want to have to bury that. But anyway, I go walking up the way here and not sure how far I got to go. I'm starting to sweat and walking, and I see out of the corner of my eye this white car matching my pace as I'm walking along. And I stop and I look. What the heck is it? Brand new Cadillac Eldorado. Guy's in there. He's got a big black pompadour and open collar shirt with a medallion and stuff, oversized sunglasses. Looked like he might have been Elvis's uncle or something. I didn't know. And he's like, "You want to ride?" He said it like a New York accent. I can't do it. "You want to ride?" I go, "Sure." "You got a license?" I go, "Yeah." ka-chunk, the locks pop up. He says, put your pack on the back seat. Don't scratch the upholstery. So I'm putting my pack in the back seat. He's got a closet rod back there. He's got leisure suits and sport jackets and pants and fancy shirts with big collars and French cuffs and stuff. He's got belts on the floor and shoes with buckles on them. This guy was a style, I tell you what. So I get in and we go to pull away from the curb and the steering wheel's off kilter and shaking a little bit. I go, what happened to your car, man? I've been driving since Vegas, man. I fell asleep, went in a meeting, hit the guardrail. Glad I was there. I could have been killed. The guy at the gas station says, there's a little garage up here. Maybe we can get the car fixed and, then we could be on our way. I'm like, what? Now I'm dealing with the guy's problem. I stuck with this. All right, anyway, I'm getting a ride apparently. Let's see how this all goes. So he pulls up to the garage. There's a one-stall garage. It's up on the lift. The guy comes out with a greasy rag, the dollar signs in his eyes, and I got to see what happened to this car. I get out and I go around the driver's side. Oh, no. The bumper's crushed in, the fender's bent, the white wall scratched, the hubcap's missing, and there's a scrape all the way back to the rear wheel. It was ugly, man. This beautiful new Cadillac Eldorado. Anyway, I see him talk to the guy, and the guy's like, I don't know. I see the guy give him some money, and he's like, points up at the lift, and it's like, whatever, man. He pulls out some more money, and I heard him say, okay, I'll tell him I had to wait for parts. I'll get you in right away. So he gets the guy's car in, puts it on, the wheel's crooked, he's got to get a new wheel and balance it, and then align the front, and we're talking and stuff, and the guy's saying, I stayed too long in Vegas, I was having a great time. You ever been to Vegas? Yeah, I've been to Vegas. Oh man, but I got a big important meeting in New York tomorrow. I can't be late, so I got to sleep in the back seat. Here's the keys. You take your pack, put it in the trunk, and you got to drive. All right, I'll drive. So gets the car, okay, now you know how to get on the freeway? Yeah, the ramp is right there. Okay, don't speed, be careful. He gets in the back, I'm like, okay. Get in the car, driving this thing, I go up the ramp, I put the cruise on 70, I put the AC on 70, and I'm reliving the day. I'm thinking, man, you never know hitchhiking what's gonna happen. One minute I'm sleeping in a ditch, next minute I'm sweating under my backpack, and now here I am cruising down the freeway in a caddy, Eldorado, like some kind of ritzy caddy, man. How cool is that, man? I didn't see that coming. So I found myself sitting in a bus in front of the New Orleans International Airport, not sure what I should do next. I just returned from an extensive vacation through Central America, from Mexico all the way down to Panama. It was awesome, man. Inexpensive, beautiful scenery and volcano eruption. I was in an earthquake, waterfalls, rivers, beaches, reefs, jungle, beautiful colonial cities, 400 years old with cobbled streets, inexpensive, delicious food and friendly people, man. The best vacation ever. But I was down to my last $60 and I had to make it 1,200 miles to get back up to Minneapolis. And I thought what I would do is buy a ticket to the downtown bus station. From there, see how far $20 would take me up north. Maybe I could find a ditch to sleep in up there someplace. So I'm waiting on the bus, and I see this white cowboy hat coming up the steps, and then this elderly, mustachioed Hispanic guy, salt and pepper beard and stuff, and he's got a frayed white collar tied around his neck and a sport jacket. He's trying to look presentable, and he's got his old battered green suitcase with a clasp that was broken on it, and 6 windies with that blue nylon cord around it to keep it shut. This guy's got a story to tell. So I looked at him, and we made eye contact. Buenas tardes, I said. Buenas tardes, he said. He sits down right next to me. I want to see if he spoke English or not. I said, did you have a nice trip? And he's, yes, very good. You? I had a nice trip. Central America was awesome, man. And he said, where are you going now? I said, I don't know. I don't have much money. You know anybody that might rent a guy a room or a bed or something for a couple of bucks like they do in Central America? He said, you should stay at my house. And I'm like, wait a minute. When somebody's this friendly so quick, you kind of get your guard up and got to decide if this guy's a grisly serial killer luring me into a tortured death or if he's just a nice guy. So I figured he's a pretty nice guy. So I said, all right. He says, I'll clear with my wife. I says, me llamo Jaime. He says, his name's Hernando. Hernando, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So we're on the bus. He tells me to get off. We're cruising down Elysian Fields. I remember the name of the street. And we walk in this nice residential section of town. concrete stoop there. He goes, spare me a key. Wait here. So he goes on in the house. And I hear this ferocious argument in Spanish. I can't understand any of it. It's horrible. Her voice is accusatory and vindictive, and he's pleading and sorrowful. And it's just going on. And then all of a sudden, it stops. It's quiet. And I'm like, he's killed her, and I'm next. No, I got to get out of here. I'm picking up my pack. How did I get myself into this? And it's like, wait a minute, I don't even know where I am. I'm far from the airport, but I don't know where to go. I don't know when it's going to get dark. I don't want to get trapped in the city and get robbed or mugged or something. This is not cool, man. Just then, the door opens, and there's Hernando, who's got a plate with a peanut butter sandwich in one hand and a glass of milk in the other, and he says, don't go. What could I do? I sat there eating the peanut butter sandwich, drinking the milk, watching the cars cruise up and down Elysian Fields. Another little argument, skirmish inside, whatever, man. So then he comes out, he opens the door, and he goes, you finished? So I give him the plate, I give him the cup, and he puts it inside. And he reaches in, and there's the green suitcase. He shuts the door, like, oh no, this is not good, man. He goes, let's walk. I go, I'm so sorry, I never should have accepted your invitation, man. He says, no, it's not what you did. It's what I did. After all these years, my wife found out I have another secret wife in Tampico, and she kicked me out. He says, I feel bad for you. Let's go to the bus stop. Listen, I've got another house in town. It's not as nice, and it's, frankly, it might not even have running water or electricity, but, I got you into this. Is all I have to offer. And I'm like, really? What? It's only 4 blocks from Bourbon Street. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay, I'll spend one night. If it sucks, I'll just move on. So we get off of the corner of Rampart and Pauger, I remember. Not a very nice neighborhood. A chain link fence with paper stuck up against it. We go in the backyard, torn black garbage bag with trash strewn in the yard. And he unlocks the door and opens the door, and I look in there, and my eyes adjust, and I see a red Formica countertop with white candles stuck in the top. And he tries the light switch. Oh, there's no electricity. Check the bathroom. There's water. It flushes. There's paper and everything. Hey, next room, there's a table, a chair, a bed with a sheet on and a pillow. And I'm like, this place is more like a Ritz-Carlton every minute, man. I'm in. But there was a problem. There was a smell. Now, it wasn't overpowering, but you definitely could tell. It was like a raccoon died under the house a year ago and wasn't quite done decomposing yet, and not cool. So he was embarrassed. I wasn't going to say anything. He goes, okay, adios, buena suerte. He's leaving. I go, thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye. So I got the door open. I'm sweeping the place out with a piece of cardboard and got my back to the street. I'm trying to get the crap off the floor and air this place out a little bit. I about jumped out of my skin. I heard, what you doing in Nando's house? And I'm like, what? I'm a friend of Hernando's. He said I could stay here. There's a big, fat black woman with wild eyes, frizzy hair, gold tooth and everything. What you doing in Nando's house? Don't that place still smell? And I'm like, well, yeah, a little bit. Didn't he tell you what happened in there? No, man, I didn't ask. I'm thinking, leave me alone. I'm just trying to survive here. He says, old man lived there with his dog, and he gone missing. Long time later, police come, with Nando, they go in the house, and they find him in there, long time dead, and his starving dog been eating on him. You can't stay in no house where a man died, dog, and I'm eating on that dumpy house. You come with me. She's lead me down the street like I'm glad it wasn't a blind date, but hey, she's trying to help me. You stay right with my son Andrew. He live right there. There he is right now. Andrew, this man friend Hernando's, he need a place to stay tonight. You be a good Christian boy, and you let him sleep on your couch. Yes, mama. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I meet Andrew. He asked me if I want to go to First Baptist Church with him, or do I want to go crawfishing with him in the bayou? It was so very cool. I remember trying to fall asleep that night, reliving the day, I didn't know what I was going to do. Hernando helps me out. He's got a huge problem. Tries to help me out again. Takes me here. She's helping me out. Andrew's helping me out. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Excuse me. Thinking, oh my gosh, all these people trying to help me out. When I'm planning a vacation, I would think about the vistas and the sights and the locations. You want to see the waterfalls and ocean and all that kind of cool stuff. But what sticks with me over the years, it seems, is the people over the places. And it made me think about A Streetcar Named Desire, the book written about New Orleans, when Tennessee Williams' character, Blanche, had said, I've always depended upon the kindness of strangers. And I realized that in all my trips, the people that I met that were kind to me and helped me out and helped me learn more about myself and see things in a different way. And I was thinking, I really owe a huge debt to these people. And joyfully so, I owe to the kindness of strangers. Fast forward many years. It's in the book. Can't tell any of the Providencia stories. It takes too long. This one is about when I was going to go back to Providencia for like the third time. Angie's car blew up and she couldn't come with, and she encouraged me to go alone, and I didn't want to jeopardize that relationship. So I got all this money burning a hole in my pocket. I wrote Martina and Borgos, that's the people down there that adopted me. I won't be coming this year, sorry, whatever. What am I going to do? I got all this money. I'm at the bank standing in line. We lived in an abandoned house for 5 seasons. It was very cool. We're hippies, didn't even know it. So I'm saving 80% of my pay. I'm going to put it in the bank, and there's a guy in front of me in line. He's wearing this really cool jacket. It's embroidered. It says, "Learn to fly." Picture of a cool airplane and phone number. So the guy's finished with his business. I get out of line, as I do quite often, and I said, what's the deal? What's the deal of flying? Oh, Red Anderson, Buffalo Airport, I don't know, 55, 20 miles, He'll take care of it. He's an Alaskan bush pilot. So I called him up. Red says, yeah, come on out. Come on out. So instead of a vacation this year, let's see what's the deal. So I go out and I talk to the guy, what's involved. He says, well, you get 20 hours of dual time, 20 hours of solo time, all your training materials, all your books, and at the end of the whole deal, unless you're a complete idiot, you're going to get your private pilot's license. And I'm like, oh, really? Cool. Okay. How much? $800. $800 doesn't sound much like now. It's a small fortune now. And I'm like, well, can you maybe come down a little bit? He says, get in the plane. Just get in the plane. You sit in the pilot seat. Get in the pilot seat. This little Cessna 150. It's only about this wide. And he shows me all the stuff and the gauges. And he says, okay, check the magnetos. Turn on the primate. Give it a little choke. Clear prop. This thing's firing up. Okay, turn on the radio. Turn on the radio frequency. Buffalo traffic, 7-1 uniform, taxiing for departure on runway 03. Okay, he says this pedal steer you when you're on the ground. When you're in the air, it's the rudder. These ailerons, they don't do anything right now, and this doesn't do anything now. Taxi out to the runway, turn it around. Okay. Put your toes on the brakes, sticking the throttle all the way, and don't fight me. We let go of thing and rolling down the runway, and we just go flying up into space, man. It was so cool. He says, okay, here, you take it. Don't do anything too drastic, This does this, and this does this, and the rudder does that. Cool, man. Turn around, okay, bring it around, okay. Okay, now say this on the radio, Buffalo traffic, 7-1 uniform, turning base leg for runway 03. We do it. He says, let me take it. He's coming in and land it. That is so cool. I wrote him a check on the spot. Okay, I'm going to be a pilot. So we're going along, and a huge day in a new pilot's license is his first solo. So you got many hours of dual flying until he sees you know what you're doing, and the day's it's today the day. I finally went out there, and he says, okay, Jim, today's the day. You're the pilot. I'm the student. Tell me what to do. Go out there, okay, you check the gas and check the oil and all the little connections and everything. It's all good, get in. Magnetos, prop, flop, Buffalo traffic, da-da-da-da. Wow, take way off, going around, come back in. Ooh, I was a little nervous, come on. Set it down, so sweet. He goes, you know what? You're ready, I'm getting out. So he gets out, he puts on his little Elmer Fudd hat, and he's smoking his pipe in his big parka. But it's like in February. I'm taking off. It's all perfect. Coming around. Coming into land. Okay. And I'm like, it's kind of icy. And coming in, landed smooth as could be. He's standing there watching me. I'm going to stop early so he can tell me what a good job I did. Touch the brakes. This side was ice. This side was snow. The plane turned sideways, 90 degrees. I'm sliding down the runway, afraid this thing's going to catch and I'm going to die in a flaming ball of death. As I'm looking at He's standing there. I thought the last thing I was going to see was his hands on his head, open his mouth, his pipe fell out in the snow, and then I was going to die. Okay, I did die. We had to talk about last-minute decisions at crucial moments, and I was allowed to continue my training. So, it's about a month later. I'm doing all my solo stuff now, navigating up to Litchfield and Fort Ripley and Brainerd, Bemidji, whatever, come back down. Well, now I'm practicing stall recovery. Stall recovery is when you lose your lift and it'll drop on you. So you got to be careful, especially taking off. You're only 80 feet off the ground. If that thing stalls, you'll crash. So what you do is you go up to 5,000 feet, pull back on the throttle, pull back on the thing until the angle of attack is too steep. You lose your lift and the nose is going to drop. So once the nose drops, you give her the juice and you pull out. Fun, more fun than any roller coaster, man. I'm a pilot now, look at what I'm doing. So I did it a couple times, and like the third or fourth time, I got a little complacent, a little careless. I had one wing a little bit lower than the other, and I gave it the gas as the nose was dropping. And that, with the torque, at just that minute, this thing's spinning now, round and round and round. It's called a death spiral. I'm in a spiral now, and the hair stands up on my arms every time I tell this, like it did then. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm trying to turn out of the skid, turn out of the skid. And the ground's coming like this, and nothing's happening. I look down, the throttle's wide open still, the yellow touching the red, and I pull back on the throttle, and nothing's happening. I'm totally out of control here. The ground's coming up. I had a vision of like the tail of the plane sticking out of a burn spot, and the news guy talking about next of kin. I lost all hope, and I'm like, please, God. I don't know how this happened. The ground's spinning around. It morphed and it changed into my laundry going around in the dryer. And I remember thinking, I was mad. These dryers are so slow. I got to put in another 50 cents for another 20 minutes. So I guess I got a few more minutes to read my books that I would bring when I would do my laundry. And stall recovery, okay. Next chapter, spin recovery. Spin recovery is achieved with the use of opposite rudder. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Laundry going around. Now it's real again, and the ground again, and it's spinning, and it's close, and I'm thinking, opposite rudder, and pushing the thing down, it slows down. Now, come on, man, pull back, and I can feel the blood draining out of my face, and it's going to be so close. And I started out at 5,000 feet, I was like 300 feet. I fell for 14 seconds, 2 more seconds, man. I had plowed in. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm shaking. Everything's okay. And I climb up a little bit, and I'm thinking, this is like the 5th time God's spared my life. First time I was a little kid, I set the house on fire. Driving in Colorado, I was on a curvy road, and I was riding the inside of a left curve, and this guy's way offline, and I had to pull in my elbow and duck. I thought I was going to hit his car. And then I opened my eyes, and I almost went off. I almost killed myself twice in 2 seconds. Close calls in the car with Angie. The night when my sister was sent to save me on the darkest night of my life. And now this. That's all I could think about as I flew back to the airport. Thank you, Angie. What is next? Solo. Oh, yeah. So fast forward many chapters, and my son comes. He's like 30 at that time or whatever. Dad, I'm gonna go skydiving. What? No, man, don't do that. Why do you want to do that, man? It's dangerous. You're gonna kill yourself. No, it's really good. He's telling me all about it. And so he's jumping, and Father's Day came up, and it's like, Dad, how would you like to do a tandem jump with me on Father's Day and do a tandem? And I'm like, that sounds pretty cool, Yeah, okay, yeah, I will. So Angie and the kids pitched in for me to do a tandem, and even for a cameraman and everything, I still got the DVD of it. So we drive up to Superior on Saturday morning, and I meet his friends, and what a cool scene that is. And they're all going up and jumping out of the plane, and nobody's dying. They're all landing right there, and it's so cool. That little plane, the type of plane they use only holds 4 or 5 people. So it's not that big, but when it's up at 10,000 feet, if you know where to look, it's about that big, and you can see it. And then you can hear the engine slow down a little bit. And then all of a sudden you see these little tiny pinpoints of black dots. And you see them there in a circle, and they're coming down, coming down. Then they all go different directions because you don't want to open near the other guy. And then if it's quiet like this, you can actually hear the parachute open. And there they are, and it's all cool. And they all come in, they land right there. It's so cool. So I was excited. So next morning, okay, happy Father's Day, Dad. You know, Kev took me out to breakfast first and everything, and we go back. I meet my tandem guy. His name was Fargo, and told me what to do, not do. You know, when we're going to go out, grab here, keep your head back, and when we land, pick your feet up. That's about all you got to know. Okay, cool. So we're going up, and I tell you what, I wasn't afraid, but man, was I excited, and I was nervous. I didn't know what it was going to be like. And so we get up to 9,000 feet, and Fargo tells me to turn around, and clip, 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 clip. Good, he got all four, that's good. Pilot tells Kev to open the door, he opens the door, and he gives me a high five. Happy Father's Day, Dad, and out he goes. And I go, oh man, am I ever going to see him again, I wonder. Then Ben, the cameraman, climbs out. He's standing on this tiny little step, and he's hanging on. And me and Fargo are trying to get out without catching our parachute on the door or anything. It's ready? Ready, set, go! And we both go at once. And it's like, you know, people want to know if you get the roller coaster rush. You don't. You're already going 80 miles an hour. It takes 10 seconds to get up to 100, you know. No belly rush. It's just like this cushion of air that's really loud. It's like, what? It's sensory overload. I didn't know what was happening. And the cameraman flies up. Just give me your hands. Okay, I can do that. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, it's fun, I guess. And then he waves off. Throws our parachute. It looked like we went up, but actually, we slowed down, and he just kept dropping. And because Kevin and Ben are going to be on the ground first because we pull higher. So anyway, yeah, it opened. It's good. And then it's like, it's this quiet. And there's the ground, there's Lake Superior. He says, you want to steer this thing? I go, yeah, sure. Grab that thing and pull it down. Okay. Okay, how cool is that? You want a wild ride? Yeah, I want the wildest ride I could possibly get. Take that thing and push it down and hold it there. So I take the toggle, I push it, and it pulls the side of the canopy over, and we're going around and around. Now the other way, around and around. Okay, let go, let me drive this thing. Coming into land, oh man, we're gonna crash. We're coming in fast, and then he just buries these toggles, and we just sat down like from me to you away, right in front of Kevin and Ben, the camera guy. That was so cool. I want to sign up. I want to do the classes. I want to jump out by myself. So I started the classes up there, and there's a lot to it, and you know, when you see what this thing is, it's like half of this thing's held together with rubber bands and strings and stuff. It's crazy. Are you kidding me? He says, oh, each of those strings can hold 750 pounds. You got 24 of them. Don't worry about it, man. You take a couple breaks, so what? Anyway, okay, I'm taking the first jump class, and got to teach every possible thing that could possibly go wrong. Like 4 million jumps ago, this happened to this one guy. It's never happened since. We still got to teach you that because it happened and could happen to you. What's this thing? What's RSL? Cut away, don't cut away. Total malfunction, partial malfunction. What do you do? Oh man, you know what? At the end, you got to sign this thing saying I'm ready. And I couldn't sign the thing. I wasn't ready. So I slept on it, and the next morning got my answers questioned. Interesting. I'll be fine. And so I decided to go ahead and do it. So I'm doing the first jump class. And it's so cool, you know. You learn to fly your body, you go forward and backward, slow down, speed up, turn. So cool, so cool. So I got my A license. Proud day in a jumper's life. They stamp your forehead with an A in ink, and you got to buy a case of beer because now you're a skydiver. I wanted to keep going at it. You know, B license. What do you need to get your B license? They take you on a pontoon boat and you park there, and you're wearing this old rig that's not airworthy anymore. You jump in the lake and they throw the parachute over you. So you got to undo the arms and legs and get out of this thing and follow yourself out so you don't get tangled. And if you get out of there and if you don't drown, you get your B license. So I got my B license. Now I'm going to go for my C license. These are all higher levels of prestige and coolness. I was never cool in high school. This is the coolest I've ever been, man. I get my C license. You got to have so many minutes of free fall, so many jumps. You got to land like within certain feet of a cone in the big landing area, you know, and you figure out how to land within 5 feet of that thing. I'd actually landed on it a couple of times. Yeah, baby. I'm good now. And then so I got my C, and then the D, you got to do a night jump. So you go up at night, it's dark, you're way up 13,000 feet, little tiny lights on the runway, there's the windsock. Okay, you know, there's like 8 of us going to do it in a row. Just jump out, count to 8, and pull, and don't turn or do anything. Come in and land. There's headlights aiming on the grass so you can see where to land. Come in. Oh, it's like James Bond stealth mission, man. It was so cool. Got my D license. Okay. Now, I'm going to go for my instructor rating. I was a skydiving instructor. I got paid to teach people how to skydive. That was the pinnacle of my skydiving career. And just so cool that I could come that far in the sport. Well, anyway, about this time, Joe opened skydive in Winstead. And instead of having to drive 2.5 hours up to Duluth, it's only a 40-minute drive out to Winstead, where he had West Side skydivers. And I began teaching there. And then one day, we had a new SNTA show up, a safety and training advisor, and his name was Haji. He was in his middle 30s, I suppose, but he was a fun guy, funny, good sense of humor. Over 1,000 jumps. He did tandems, he did videos, and you know, people look up to him, and I did too. But you know, since his near-death experience in the little plane, it caused me to go on somewhat of a spiritual journey. And I want to find out, you know, did God really save my life all those times? Was that coincidence? Or what is this all about? So I searched. I even went to Bible college for 1.5 years. I did Old Testament history, New Testament, studied all this stuff, and it built my faith. And at one point, I made a pretty strong commitment. But now, I kind of slid back, and I got 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in the spiritual world, and I was conflicted. You know, I'm spending all this money showing myself a really good time. I'm not denying myself like I'm called to do. And so I was conflicted about it. And you know, I wanted to share. We're encouraged to share our faith with people. I want to share with Haji. Something within me. But we're always too busy packing parachutes, being with our students, briefing, debriefing, trying to make the next load. And then at the end of the day, the bonfire and the beers come out, and I can't share with them now. You know, I'll share with them next time. Never shared with them next time. It was the same thing over and over again, you know, whatever. And okay, next time for sure. Well, the season ended early that year with wind and clouds and rain, and next thing you know, the season's over. And I go, well, I can call Haji now, and you know, we can have a nice talk together. I didn't have his number. I had to call a mutual friend. We knew where it would be on the weekend. And didn't need his number. So anyway, I called my buddy, and he said, oh, Haji, no, he's in Hawaii. He left last Tuesday. He's going to be there till probably April or May. And I thought, oh, I missed my chance. I'll share with him for sure next time. First time I meet him, I promise, I'm locked in. So about a month or 6 weeks later, I get a message from this buddy of mine. Hey, Jim, did you hear what happened to Haji? I'm like, no, please, how bad? Femur, pelvis, killed, plane went in, what happened? Well, it didn't turn out to be that it was a skydiving accident at all. There was some bipolar guy or something that attacked him with a pipe or a bat or something and fractured his skull. He had a metal plate in his head. He was in physical and emotional pain, PTSD. He lost the love of his life. He couldn't jump anymore. And he grew despondent and discouraged and depressed and withdrawn. And he just didn't want to live anymore. One day he took his own life, leaving me to wonder, could I have made a difference if I had said anything? Could it possibly turn out differently? Why did God save my life and not his? I still don't know. I prefer to remember Haji around the bonfire with the beer in his hand, encouraging me to do another one of my poems, so I wrote this one in memory of him. Sorry. Haji's gone now. What can I say? Wish it would have gone some better way. Just goes to show that we don't always know when they can't face another sad day. The emotions he must have been feeling, profoundly disconsolate, reeling. But he hid it so well that we just couldn't tell that his tormented heart needed healing. Some people are good at pretending. Their shattered soul doesn't need mending. They're reluctant to tell. They're not doing too well, and they wish that their sad life were ending. I too have faced such despair, so alone with no one to care. Why did you do it when we'd help you through it? My God, why is life so unfair? So if there's someone that you know who is down and feeling so low, go, tell them you care, and then you will be there to help them defeat that dark foe. Okay. Angie's my timekeeper over there. I'm supposed to stretch. Should I drink water for 5 minutes? All right, how about this one? This one has a happier ending. Another skydiving story. There's no kids here, right? We can talk about this. Like I said, Joe opened Westside in Winstead, and he was leasing a caravan. A caravan is an 18-passenger turboprop, coolest jump plane ever. Gets you up to 13,000 feet in about 11 minutes or so. And that's what you want to have to jump in. You can jump, there could be groups of four-ways going out, plus tandems, plus the head-down people and the sit-flyers, and just, it's really allows for a lot more variety of what you could do. But he was leasing this thing, and I think it's $30,000 a month. That's why tandems are so expensive, one of the reasons. But they're worth it. So he wanted to buy his own plane. Well, $1.25 million for a used one. And he's like, oh. And some, I won't call them friends of his, some acquaintances of his, suggested that Joe used the jump plane to transport marijuana from Colorado, where it was legal, to his jump zone in Katy, Texas, where it obviously wasn't. Now, he would jump in the wintertime in Texas because it was pretty nice down there. Too cold to jump up here. In the summertime, he'd jump up here. It's too hot down there. So they talked him into this, and they coerced him, and whatever, he finally agreed to do it. So on what turned out to be Joe's last run, did the same thing. They land in Katy, Texas, a little private airstrip where it is drop zone, and they open the hangar doors and push the plane in as this Cadillac Escalade pulls in with 4 guys and a couple of duffel bags, and they go in the hangar and have a little meeting. So the marijuana that he brought, they have some kind of labels of identifications on them of who grew it or whatever. So these, we'll take this. We know this brand, but what's this stuff? Different manufacturer or grower or something. So he did some testing. I said, no, this is substandard. We're not going to take this, so you take this back. So they gave him 66 pounds to return, and they paid him $330,000 in cash for what they accepted. They take their stuff and pull out. Now this pilot says, you know what? He didn't want to have anything to do with this from the start. He says, I'm not dealing with this debacle anymore. I'm out of here. So he leaves. Joe's stuck there with the cash and the skunk weed, and he's got to return it somehow. So he rents a car, a little minivan, I guess, and he's driving through Kansas, and he's out of gas, so he's got to pull over. Okay, prepay, I get it. He goes in, prepays, gives the guy $20 or whatever. He's stepping out of the doorway, and he gets knocked to the ground by a car going about 5 miles an hour. Boom, cuts his hand, cuts his elbow. What the hell? He goes in, and there's this drunk guy behind him. Oh, what's your problem, buddy? He's like, roll down your window. Look what you did to me, And he's like all upset. And then he hears, are you all right, sir? And he looks, and there's a police officer standing right there. And then he looks at the car with the weed and the cash in it, like 10 feet away. And he's like, oh, I'm fine, officer. This is a little cut. I have a meeting I really need to be at. You got this guy for DUI, right? You didn't need me. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, have a nice day. Thanks a lot. He gets in and he takes off down the highway again. He's so mad. And then he looks down. He didn't put the gas in. He's still out of gas. There's a quick exit right there. He veers over 2 lanes and takes the exit, which just happened to be witnessed by the highway patrol with the radar gun hiding under the bridge. So this one's about Jumpin' Joe. had a scheme to make all kinds of dough. But as he raked in the cash, his dream just crashed. Never dreamed this is the way it would go. In Kansas, Joe got pulled over. Never mind, he was totally sober, because in the back was a stash and a huge pile of cash, and he knew then that his dream was over. Cops said, "Put your hands on the car." They were standing out there in the tar. They read him his rights in front of those flashing lights. He never dreamed he'd fall this far. Well, the man had Joe dead to rights, so in jail he spent a couple of nights. Then he said he'd talk if they'd let him walk and forget that he'd made those flights. Well, the captain said, "We can deal too. Just give us the names of the crew and, oh, wear this wire and give us the buyer. Then we'll see what we can do." Now, Joe was in a tough spot, didn't know if he'd do it or not. Then he said, "Okay, I'll do it your way. Just forget I transported that pot." So far now, Joe's still not in jail. He had plenty of cash to make bail. And in a while, there will be a trial where compassion, he hopes, will prevail. The judge said, "Joe broke the laws of our nation." So jail time was his expectation. But they heard his plea, and I'll let him go free when they gave him just 4 years probation. Since then, Joe's been a good boy, and skydiving he again can enjoy. But now the cash that they hand him all goes for the tandem. But the tips he can keep, and the joy. Okay, another skydiving one. You can't read this, but it says Skydive Superior. On the back it says the Miracle 11. You'll hear what this is all about. So, up at the drop zone in Superior, it was November. I didn't go up there that weekend, but I knew all these people. I jumped up there many, many, many times. I got over 811 jumps, so I jumped quite a bit. It's been a while. I miss it. I had to give it up. It was kind of taking over my life, actually. But sorry about all the weekends away, leaving for yourself while I'm out having fun. Anyway, where was I? Superior. So there's like a tradition of, okay, up at the drop zone, it's very busy. Saturday and Sunday, it's crazy. You might do 40 loads. Taking people up, tandems. You got the tandem people dealing with the tandems. You got to show them the safety video. You've got instructors teaching their students, and you got packers packing and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, there's something we call a sunset load. And there's limited spaces. So you've got to be a pretty proficient jumper. This is for newbies. Pretty proficient, kind of friends with the cool kids. And this is like a staff jump, where they'll all go up on the last load of the day, and all the cares and worries are done. And they're going to do however many way they can. If it's a caravan, you know, I've been in on 14 ways. That's pretty cool, man, all at once. And, you know, otherwise it's just smaller groups. But sunset load's very cool. And then, in fact, the newbies will be standing out on the landing area with a beer in each hand, like this. It's like, don't move, this is swoop and chug. Well, swoop and chugs, when they're standing there like this and you're coming in, and as you come by, you grab the beer out of their hand, chug, party time, let's go. I got to do that a few times. I actually got the can one time. It's hard to do. Anyway, so these people planned what they wanted to do that evening. They had a 5-jumper plane and a 4-jumper plane, so you get 9 people, 2 pilots, it's 11. They've all got their gear all packed at the same time, which is pretty hard to coordinate. But they're all packed and ready to go. It's 20 minutes or so till sunset. Pilots aren't drinking yet. Both planes have fuel. They planned a formation sunset load. Formation sunset load is you got 2 planes. They take off about 30 seconds apart. They're going up. They're going up. They got the wings figured out. They know where they want to get out, so the wind will take you, you know, there and everything. So they're going to climb up. This plane's up above and behind, like I say, about 150 feet. You don't want it below, of course, because the propeller, no. The rear plane's always above. And the pilots are talking to each other. Okay, we're all ready. Open the doors, open door, open door. Climb out, climb out. They're hanging on the struts, and they're in the doorway, and all ready to go. And the pilots are talking to each other. Ready, set, go! And out they go. Well, these 5, all getting around, it's called, we're all on our belly, grabbed by the wrist like this. We're all falling 100 miles an hour through space, man. And then these other 4 have to accelerate and come down to the group and get close and quick so, you don't make them wait. But you don't want to crash into the group and wreck the jump, and you're a jerk for the rest of the weekend. So come in and fly. Okay, if we still got 7,000 feet, we'll all put our right knee out, and this thing is going to turn like a pinwheel, faster and faster and faster. $5,000, you let go. Everybody goes different direction. Deploy your parachute. Is it good? It's always good. Almost always good. There's Lake Superior. There's the drop zone. There's a guy. I'm going to grab the beer out of his hand about 2 minutes from now. Finally get it. And the party begins in 20 minutes. Things didn't go exactly as planned. What happened was the rear plane, this guy never did a formation load before, but he was a very experienced pilot. He just never did this particular thing. And he's back here, kind of far, so he increases RPM a little bit, and he's slowly creeping closer. GPS, spots good, wind's good, open door, climb out. He's watching Trish climb out. She was a hot skydiver chick. He was watching her and didn't pay attention that his plane got too close and got in the wash of the other one. It came right down on top of it. Dan and Trish are hanging on the strut. They got smashed into the roof. The propeller broke the windshield of the other one. Matt's face was cut with plexiglass. Good thing he had his sunglasses on. He probably would have been blinded by it. The impact snapped the wing off the lower plane. There's burning fuel. There's metal shards. There's bodies flying everywhere. They're all going to die, obviously. They didn't all die. And here's a poem I made to commemorate the occasion. 11 so brave who had made fear their slave went on high for a jump before twilight. The islands and bays could be seen through the haze. At first everything was going just right. They had no clue what they all would go through as they climbed up and started that jump run when tragedy struck, but also good luck as it all became anything but fun. Linnea and John were just hanging on when the strut was no longer there. It was the craziest thing to see that flaming wing as their dream jump became a nightmare. Barry and Chad, oh, I'm sorry. Barry and Mike on the step looked alike as the planes pinched on Sarah and Dan. They could not comprehend that their lives would soon end. Please help us somehow if you can. Amy and Chad used the skill that they had as they jumped from that flaming inferno. What she would recall the most, after all, was Blake telling them both to just go. If Dan and Trish had but one hopeful wish, it would be to escape that disaster. And soon they knew that it quickly came true as that flaming debris sailed right past her. They all trekked away, hoped it would be okay as they watched that wreck in a steep dive. With Matt the pilot inside, must have been one wild ride. Please help him somehow to survive. Matt undid the strap that was on his lap, even though he was cut up and bleeding. He cut his hand on the door. Glad he wasn't hurt more. Soon that fiery wreck was receding. 9 were safe on the ground, but when they looked around, they realized the pilot's still missing. They all were so scared how our pilots fared. They all were now fearfully guessing. The propeller was bent as Blake made his descent in that plane that so needed mending. Out of their sight, Matt had landed all right. Who could imagine a happier ending? It's commonly said that they all should be dead. There's no way that each one could survive. But God has other plans. They were right in his hands, and they all walked away more alive. I guess I got a couple of minutes. I could do one last poem here. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. So nice. Thank you for all being here. Come out on a cold winter day. As I said, my book's called Providencia and Other Stories. I couldn't do the Providencia stories. That's going to be another program, which in fact is starting here at Lennox tomorrow night at 6:30. If anyone is interested, please let us know. I'm going to relate some of these island stories that are. Imagine in the middle of winter being on a tropical island in 1972 with just a little dirt road and only 5 pickup trucks on the whole island, and family adopts you and takes care of you and feeds you. And I went back year after year after year, made close ties. They were like my second parents. And then the inability to go back after a certain time because of circumstances in my life. And then to maybe be able to go back one last time. It's heart-wrenching. I'd love to share it with you. I'd love to come out. Like I say, please let me know. Anyway, some years ago, I was invited to a Halloween costume party. And for some reason, I thought I would go as a mummy. So I went to Goodwill and I got a couple sheets, some cans of spray paint and spray glue. I sprayed these sheets up all gray and cut it in little strips. Spray glued them on a pair of long underwear, tops and bottoms, and I even sacrificed an old pair of tennis shoes. I wrapped them all up and little strips for each finger and around my face. Nobody's going to tell who I am, So I kind of wanted to play the part, and I'm thinking, what would a mummy say? What would mummy think about or do? So I'm laying in the bathtub thinking about, what I'm going to say, and this funny little stupid poem came to me, a couple little verses and whatever, not very good. And then I was inspired. I realized that a mummy would know the truth about life after death. It's like, man, this took on a whole nother meaning all of a sudden. This is heavy. So I got out of the tub, I had to dry my hands off, and I'm writing it down all water smeared so I wouldn't forget. So it touched my heart, actually, that it came through me, and I hope it'll touch you as well. All wrapped up in my cool costume. You may have noticed that I am a mummy, wrapped from my head to my tummy, and from my waist down I'm quite tightly bound. That makes me feel kind of crummy. Uni al Baktun Ra was my name. In my day I had wealth and fame. But one day I died. I was fit to be tied. Now no one remembers my name. In the days back when I was the king, I thought I owned and possessed everything. I was so rich, it's told, I had rooms full of gold and barefoot maidens to sing. But there's something now that must be said to explain all the tears that I've shed. Because since I've died, I've just wept and cried. Forever is so long to be dead. It's because that there once was a day when God asked me to live his way. Now my life is gone. I forever go on, regretting I turned him away. My life was amazing, it's true, but it's 6,000 years it's been through. If I just shared my great treasure, not always sought pleasure, don't let my fate happen to you. Thank you. Thank you.